In SEM, some of the key parameters that you should optimize when you're imaging your sample are the working distance, which is the distance between your sample and the pole piece of the microscope, and also the accelerating voltage, or kV. In the case of the working distance, if you have a sample that's quite large, so let's say an insect or part of an insect, then you will be willing to use a larger working distance of say 10 to 20 millimeters, because this working distance will give you a larger depth of focus, which is required for a larger sample. Now, if you have a sample that's quite small, so let's say you have a monolayer of cells, these are quite small, flat samples, then you will be willing to use a shorter working distance of say less than 10 millimeters, 5 to 10 millimeters. That working distance will give you better resolution, despite the fact that you have a smaller depth of focus, but that doesn't matter so much because your sample is thinner. For the kV, if you have, let's say, a sample that has been coated with quite a nice thick layer of gold, and it's a fairly large sample, you will be willing to use higher kV numbers of, let's say, 20 to 30 kV. Now, if your sample has been coated with quite a delicate layer of gold or some other metal, and you're interested in the surface topography, the very finer details of the surface topography, you might want to try a kV between 5 and 10 that will penetrate less into the layer of metal that's coating your sample, so it will give you less signal, but on the other hand, it's likely to give you better resolution of that surface topography, and also not damage your sample because it's a lower accelerating voltage, so your sample is exposed to less energy. Let me just walk you through some important details in the interface of the microscope software. So here at the bottom, this bar will appear in all your images, and it has important information about the image that you're capturing. On the left-hand side of the bar, it will show the accelerating voltage, the working distance, and also the magnification of your sample, as well as the date. And then on the right-hand side, there's a scale bar. On the top of the software interface here, you will find from left to right, first the button where you switch the accelerating voltage on. You will use these buttons here to control the speed of your scanning. You'll use the fast scanning mode to find your sample and put your sample in focus, and then there's lower scanning modes to try to see what your image will look like when you capture an image. Of these buttons here, you will be using this one, which sets the brightness and contrast to a good level, and then this one here that is used for alignment. This here shows the magnification, and you press this button when you want to capture an image.